All right, so you've got some money sitting there doing absolutely nothing. And 3 different people in your life are each screaming a different answer at you. Your tech bro cousin says Bitcoin. Your boring uncle says index funds. And some anonymous account with a laser-eyed profile picture says ape into alts, bro. The stakes here aren't small because we're talking about the single most consequential financial decision a retail investor makes in the next decade. And getting it wrong doesn't just hurt your portfolio, it rewires how you think about money forever. Let's start with why this question even exists. Because 20 years ago, nobody was debating this. You bought an index fund, you went to sleep, you woke up mildly richer, end of story. Then Bitcoin showed up, like that one charismatic stranger at a party who makes you question every life choice you've made. And suddenly, boring diversification felt like showing up to a drag race in a minivan. Index funds are essentially a bet that human civilization keeps expanding, that companies keep being founded, profits keep being made, and the S&P 500 keeps compounding at roughly 10% annually, as it has since 1957. It's not sexy, it doesn't have a white paper, and nobody's gonna make a documentary about it, but it has quietly turned ordinary people into millionaires for generations without requiring them to know what a gas fee is. Bitcoin and Ethereum, on the other hand, are a bet on a parallel financial system, one where decentralization, scarcity, and programmable money eventually challenge the very institutions that index funds are built on. If that sounds dramatic, that's because it is, and also because there's a very real chance it's true, which is exactly what makes this conversation so maddening. Now, the diversified alt basket, oh, this beautiful, chaotic, deeply humbling creature, is essentially saying you believe not just in crypto broadly, but in your own ability to identify which specific protocols will matter in 10 years, which is adorable and also historically a graveyard of conviction. Remember when everyone was absolutely certain that XRP, EOS, and Litecoin were the ones, and then they just weren't? Here's the brutal historical truth. Over any rolling 10-year period since its inception, Bitcoin has outperformed every traditional asset class, including the S&P 500, gold, and real estate. But it has also drawn down 80% or more 4 separate times, meaning most people who bought it didn't actually hold it long enough to benefit. The index fund investor, meanwhile, quietly compounded and never had to explain to their spouse why their retirement account temporarily looked like a crime scene. Ethereum adds a layer of complexity because it's not just a store of value, it's infrastructure. It's the internet's settlement layer for decentralized applications. And valuing it is less like valuing gold and more like trying to value the early TCP IP protocol, which is either the most exciting thing you've ever heard or the most terrifying, depending on your relationship with uncertainty. The irony is that the asset with arguably the most real-world utility is also the one that gets dismissed the fastest by traditional finance people who use Ethereum's technology every time they interact with a financial app, and I just don't know it yet. The alt basket strategy is where behavioral economics comes in to absolutely destroy people. Because diversifying across 20 small cap tokens feels like risk management, but is actually risk multiplication dressed in a trench coat and fake mustache. You're not hedging, you're just owning more lottery tickets. And unless you have a systematic, rules-based rebalancing strategy, you're gonna panic sell the winners and dollar cost average into the losers, like every other human being with emotions. Legendary investor Peter Lynch said to invest in what you understand. And the honest question you have to ask yourself is whether you actually understand what you own. Because number go up is not a thesis, it's a prayer. The people who've genuinely built wealth across all 3 of these vehicles share one trait. They had a written strategy, they stuck to it through the ugliness, and they sized their positions in a way that let them sleep at night, rather than refreshing their portfolio app at 3 in the morning like a person who has made several regrettable decisions. So what does the data actually suggest for long-term exposure? A rational framework might look like a core allocation to index funds as your stability engine, say 60 to 70%, with a smaller allocation to Bitcoin and Ethereum as asymmetric upside, and only a tiny, disciplined sliver in alts if you have genuine conviction and a stomach for volatility. The mistake most people make is not picking the wrong asset, it's sizing it wrong. Because a 5% allocation to something that drops 90% is painful but survivable, while a 50% allocation to the same thing is a life-altering event. The misconception worth destroying right now is that you have to choose only one, that picking index funds means you're dismissing crypto, or that buying Bitcoin means you've abandoned traditional finance. These are not religions, they're tools. And a hammer doesn't make a screwdriver wrong. The philosophical truth underneath all of this is that the best investment strategy is the one you can actually maintain through a bear market, a recession, a global pandemic, and your own fear, not the one that looks best in a spreadsheet on a sunny afternoon. Discipline, position size, and consistency have built more wealth than brilliance, timing, or conviction ever have. You don't need to predict the future perfectly. You need a process that works when you're wrong, because you will be wrong. And the only question is whether you're wrong is catastrophic or merely inconvenient. Rational preparation beats emotional conviction every single time. And if you can say, I'm comfortable with any outcome because I sized this correctly, then you've already won the most important battle. And if you're ready to take that same disciplined, diversified thinking and apply it to building real, tangible wealth through real estate or home improvements, check out our links in the description below. We can help you get started, whether you're looking at real estate investing, home contracting work, or finding the right lenders.